Today, the stock market was a little choppy back and forth, and we saw the fear and greed index for a brief moment switch over into greed. However, we closed back in neutral territory. Question for tomorrow is, are the rumors true? Is Jay Powell about to shock the markets? We look at how the indices fared across the board. The Dow was down 15 points. The NASDAQ was up 35 points. S&P 500 was up 1.49 points. Russell 2000 up 1.74. Now, we look at advancing issues versus declining. We had 51.7% of issues advancing on the day. Then as we come over and look at the sectors across the board, healthcare, consumer defenses, and real estate were the laggers. However, energy, consumer cyclicals, and industrials leading the way today. And when we come over and look at the heat map real quick, we can see AVGO, not such a good day. Nvidia, not such a good day. Apple was actually able to eke out a gain. Microsoft closes up almost 1% on the day. And we look at this article right here. Microsoft unveils 60 billion share buyback, hikes dividend. The stock is rising. Now, we were talking about Microsoft a lot this morning during the live stream. And in case you guys don't know, I stream live each day the market is open starting at 9 a.m. Then I stream the Asia session at 8:45. If you guys want to join me, make sure you're subscribed and you have the bell notifications turned on for all. Now, we look at Microsoft. We can see today we were almost able to complete an ABC pattern on the way up. Now, is that all she wrote? And we're going to end up producing a lower high, meaning high, lower high, and then we're going to have a much larger ABC pattern on the way down. I believe a lot of that is going to hinge on tomorrow. We jump over and look at the next stock today. We saw Intel on the rise. However, Intel was not able to hold on to the gains, gapping up this morning, running up, only to give it back. When we come over and look at this article right here, Intel shares jump on chip deal with Amazon. However, is it enough? Or are we simply going to continue to unwind and continue to go lower? Now, when we look at the yield curve, we are still uninverted for the time being. And we're going to see, do we become even further uninverted? Or will the yield curve reinvert? Because tomorrow is going to be a big one. Starting off at 8:30 a.m., we have building permits, crude oil inventory numbers at 10:30. Then tomorrow at 2 p.m., we are going to have the FOMC statement along with the SCP report. And then Jay Powell will be taking the podium at 2:30. Now we look at what the market is forecasting. They're seeing there's a 63% chance the Fed will cut rates by 50 basis points. Only 37% chance they cut by 25 basis points. But we look right here, bets on wild stock market swings, boom, as traders face most uncertain Fed rate decision in recent memory. And if we look at this chart right here, and this goes all the way back to 2015, this is the most uncertain we have ever been in terms of what the Fed is likely to do. Now, to pour a little bit more uncertainty out there for what the Fed should do, look right here. The Fed should ignore Elizabeth Warren's call to cut rates by 0.75 percentage points. Now, who do you think Jay Powell is going to listen to? Will Elizabeth Warren influence Jay Powell's decision tomorrow at 2:30 p.m.? You guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Now, we come over and look at the dollar index real quick. Is this going to be a triple bottom when we come back up? Or are we about to go substantially lower? I think a lot of that is all going to hinge on tomorrow. And as we look at the dollar, take a look at gold. Gold is starting to come back down. We had a doji candle yesterday. We get confirmation. Now, we talked about this today during the live stream as well. We marked off this little zone, and that goes anywhere from about 25.69 down here to about 25.60. So if we're looking for a pullback in gold, this would be a logical pullback area to see gold work its way back towards. Now, if we look at the volatility index, and we were talking about this today during the live stream as well, but today we saw the VIX starting to creep up well before the market ever gave it up. And today the VIX closed up 2.92%. Also, something else on the rise, which could be inflationary as well, would have been the fact that crude oil was on the way up. And look at the zone, all right? This is the area we talked about. I said, once we got back above the swing point right over here, AKA the blue line, then we're looking for this zone to come back and get tested. That's exactly what has transpired today. Now the question is, do we start to pull back and maybe form some type of ABC pattern that takes crude oil towards 75.66 right up near the swing point? Notice the MACD indicator has started to cross to the upside. But again, I'd like to see a little bit of a pullback and form some type of ABC structure on the way up. Now, when we come over and look at Nvidia real quick, today Nvidia struggled out there. Nvidia having a bearish day out there. We saw Nvidia down roughly 1%. We got to be open to the idea this could be setting up a larger ABC pattern on the way down. So I'm going to grab the Fibonacci extension tool. We're going to measure A to B. Then we're going to measure the B to C leg. We see that projects right down here towards 90.72. That would bring us right back over here to this prior swing point. Let's see, how this shakes out. Do we break above here or do we break the swing point first? Whichever swing point breaks, that will give us the true direction on the ABC structure. Now, as we come over and look at Tesla is still trying to push up and out, trying to make its way towards the ABC projection at about 248.71. Now, if we look at the MACD indicator, not really seeing any signs of momentum at this time, and we're starting to see just a lot of consolidation really taking place at the current price point. Next, we jump over and look at the Dow. Today, the Dow was able to make another new all-time high. However, it's a close call to see if it was a closing high or not. We look at the MACD indicator, looks extremely weak at this moment. And out here on the 30-minute chart, we were watching this gap out here this morning. The gap did not, however, come back and get filled. But in this morning's analysis, the first 30 minutes of the live stream, I basically said, if we start coming back down below this high, we can look to play value area high, point of control, value area low, and then look down for gap support, which we just barely missed, and then all the way down for the gap to be filled. Now, if we continue to hover at these elevated levels and the MACD indicator gets down towards the zero line, watch out, that could be nothing more than a recharge point for another leg higher in this market. Now, I want to make you guys aware, Apex has extended their 80% sale off all their valuation accounts, lasting as little as 1 day, and $85 activation fee on all account sizes. If you guys want to take advantage of this offer, use the link in the description box down below and use promo code Mike at checkout. Now, today, small caps, we're having a field day for a majority of the day. We saw the Russell 2000 IWM up $1.80. However, when we look at the structure, the candle, not a very bullish looking candle. We came right back up. We looked to the left, basically testing out the swing point over here, then closing in the lower third of the session. This is not something the bulls want to see. As we come over here and we look at the 30-minute profiles, we had a gap up today. However, we did not come back and fill the gap. And if you look, we pushed down and now we have a consolidation. Is this some type of bear flag pattern that's going to bring our way? That's going to bring us back down towards filling the gap. And again, a lot of this is going to hinge on J Powell tomorrow, regardless of whatever chart pattern we think we may be seeing setting up. Tomorrow, when J Powell comes out, he can either validate or destroy any chart pattern that we see. Now, today on the NASDAQ, we did get a little bit of a buying tail on the bottom of this candle. But again, we're really stuck right around this volume. It's going to take J Powell to probably push us up and out of this area. We come over here and we look at the 1 hour chart real quick. MACD indicator is still making its way down towards the zero line. Then as we look out here on the 30-minute chart, here's a level that we drew out. We're watching for a retest of this minus development area for this afternoon session. However, in this morning's analysis, we gave out this zone right over here. And look right where the market came to. We came down, we overshot it a little bit, and then we came right up to here and we just kind of meander right around. Now the MACD indicator line is near the zero line, so it's going to be critical to see which way we try to push. Do we push up and out, or are we going to melt down and start trying to repair some of this poor market structure on this one-sided day we had back last week? Now, we come over and look at the NASDAQ futures, and you see we've had that push up, and we've had this upper level consolidation. I've been talking about this since this weekend. Pay very close attention. 19,410 and a quarter is value area high from last week. It's untested. And what I mean by that is last week we closed above that price point. We have failed to come back and test it. Now, we have the volatility that could creep in tomorrow with J Powell. Is that going to be enough to push the market down towards that price point? This is going to be an area. Maybe it's not this week, but normally when we close outside of value within the next 1 to 2 sessions, and since we're dealing with a weekly profile, a session would be defined as a week. So then either this week or next week, highly probable we come down and test that level. Now, if tomorrow J Powell lights a fire and the NASDAQ goes rocketing to the moon, watch out. We have an untested point of control up here at 20,117. We come over and look at the daily profiles real quick. Here's the level we drew out this afternoon. Look where it's at. If you guys were on the stream, you guys seen this drawn well in advance. This isn't after the fact. If you guys don't believe me, please join the next live stream. Now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these drawings real quick. We can see that we have value area high up here at 19,845.00. We have the point of control coming in at 19,783.50 with value area low coming in at 19,670.50. Now, here's what I'm going to say. As long as we're above value area low, then I do want to look for some upside testing. Now, where might that come? Well, I kind of like this whole area up in this zone. I'm going to go ahead and map this out. Anywhere from this candle wick right here to the candle body. It's basically a structure breakdown point. The market has failed to come back and retest. That zone is going to be anywhere from 19,740 all the way up here to about 19,760. Now, as we come over and look at the SPY, today the SPY was able to make another new all-time high again this year, ringing the new high ticker. And what do we see today? Well, today, even though it's a red candle, was actually an update in the market. We see the SPY was up 23 cents. So what does that make that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 consecutive up days in a row. You know what that means? We're getting a little bit long in the tooth. We're likely going to see a pullback in the very near future. Now, as we look at this, where would a normal pullback come back towards? Well, if we're looking at the composite profile, the next area we have volume is really down here towards about 544. Then as we dive down, we look at the 1 hour chart. MACD indicator is crossed to the downside. And on the 30-minute chart, notice what we were able to do today. We came up, we gapped up, we came all the way back down. Here's a level that we drew out in this morning's analysis. This little box right here, that's exactly where we came to. We overthrew it a little bit, and then now we've just been consolidating at those levels. So what's going to be in store for tomorrow? Well, I'm going to give you guys a heads up. This is going to be a critical level I will be watching, all right? I do think there's a good chance that we trade back up into that minus development area. We'll touch on that more in the first 30 minutes of tomorrow's live stream. Now, as we come over and look at the S&P 500, we have that untested value area high, 5591.75 off the weekly profile. Now, notice we've been spending a lot of time around this volume. We get a little bit above it, flat back down. We get below it, boom, they bring it right back up. We start to melt down. Look on the composite profile. Where do we have volume? We have a little bit here, and really right down here near value area high. So I'm really focused on the higher volume node. However, intraday, we could look for additional targets, 56.19 and about 56.06. Now, as we look at the daily profiles, here's a zone that we drew out. We're watching this afternoon. Now, we didn't quite make it back up there, but it was basically a structure breakdown point, and we're not that far away at this moment. Now, when we look at this, we have value area high all the way up here, 5735.25. We have the point of control at 5720.75. And value area low coming at 5696.75. So as long as we stay above value area low, I want to continue to look for this structure breakdown point to come back and get tested. Anywhere from about 57.11 to about 57.15. I want to learn what is prohibited and will stop you from getting a payout from my funded futures. Watch this video right here.